We are back, you beautiful bastards. West Tigers faithful. And I might just say, with the Ashes tomorrow, we are raising the half century. It is our 50th episode. Thank you for having us. Thank you for listening. We are grateful to you always. And we're glad to be back. I don't know how long this postseason series is going to last, but nonetheless, it's good to be here. And alongside me is the great man, Joe McDougal McCord. How are you, my friend? How are you, mate?
I am a man known by 1,000 names. I'm lit, bro. So lit, fam. No cap. Absolutely on God. I am pumped as hell. Having the time of my life here in the Pinch studio. And I am so eager to get back into this because so much has happened since we last had a chat. We didn't even wrap the last round. We were that Devo. We were just like, fuck this. Let's get
No,
out of here.
and we always spoke about it. We said that it was going to be our final episode, and then we were always like, "Oh, well, maybe if we win, we'll talk it up." And at about half time of that Titans game, yeah, I was getting pretty excited, and then
Well, I was there,
yeah,
right? And like for those who follow us on social media, you would have seen I did the prediction. I like filmed the corner and I said Marcy, he's going to score a try right there in the corner. And then I filmed him scoring the try and he put the ball down right where I put my finger. I even actually bumped into Marcy's family at the hotel. I stayed down on the Gold Coast with the family. They all of his extended family, all 9,000 of them, were all staying at the Voco. So it was a good time. It was a terrible outcome, but in reality, like, I mean, I feel like the Titans had more to play for because of 4 hours. About the gist of it.
yeah, it's an interesting one, and obviously, again, Latu goes off injured, which disrupted combinations on that right edge. Um, that probably sounds like we're making excuses, but look, it was a topsy-turvy game and it was extremely disappointing. But, and we said this in the preview, the Titans when they're on, they're on, and they were that last sort of 25 minutes. But look, to lose the game from there was inexcusable, but we move on and, we've had a lot of time for the emotion to dissipate. And we're looking at things, I think, pretty rationally. I mean, I'll probably tee off about the fucking buy in round one, but for the most part, I think this will be pretty calm. But mate, I want to know about you. It's been many, many weeks since we sat here in this very chair, and you're a busy man, and you very rarely sit still. So please enlighten our listeners with what you've been up to.
Oh man, it's been a few months of pretty solid grind at work. Lots of work, pinch payments, going from strength to strength. Aside from that, dad life. I last weekend we went down to Lennox Head for my birthday. It was my birthday two
One
days
of the
ago.
great spots.
Isn't it beautiful? 2 days ago turned 39, so I'm in my last year of my 30s.
There it is. Happy birthday, mate.
Appreciate that. But yeah, stayed down there at the Big Four, Tasman, Big Four. And mate, pretty much spent the entire time fishing. I hooked myself up with a pair of these beautiful Meta Wayfarers, these Meta Ray-Ban Wayfarers I got for my birthday. That was a pretty sick present. And then I went fishing with them on and took a bunch of fishing footage. I think that might be my next online content creation journey, is a bit of a fishing thing. We'll see. But man, aside from that, I wouldn't even know where to begin. It's been an absolute whirlwind. Honestly, but mostly work stuff. I'm sure I wouldn't want to bore everybody with the details. If you are interested in my work escapades, if you are a business-minded human being, just look me up on LinkedIn. I'm just as much of a rat bag on LinkedIn as I am here.
I can attest to that, absolutely. It's a little bit more professional. A little.
Just a little bit. You should see the thing I just put up, though.
I'll give it a look a little bit later.
Yeah.
Probably not for right now. Um,
No.
so before a lot of people will know that we do wrap the season, and we will wrap the season, and it'll mainly just be team focused. Last year, we sort of went player by player and that sort of thing, but we're busy men these days. There's probably not too much time for that.
Businessman.
Yes. But we promise that we will try and give you as good as analysis as we can, with some interesting opinions thrown in and so forth. I must say though, I'm a bit devo. The club did their big jersey announcement. They got a lot of West Tigers based influences from the media sphere of out. Our colleagues, I suppose you'd call them, Westlife, got a crack. The boys from Playing in Simple got a crack as well. Justice Crew were there. I was pretty hurt by that, but at the
Were
same
you?
time, maybe they're just sick of us talking about, Tanner Boyd having better value over replacement player than Jerome Luai, and they said, "No, we can leave these guys off the list."
You know what, Bob? Like, I think that really it's just it's another tick in the box for those who think that Benji Marshall's slightly racist. Because, like, Justice Crew, Brady and Mac. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
The fella from Speak Free was there, so I don't know if that's sort of the case. He looks
Yeah,
like
but he's DEI, bro.
I was gonna say, he looks like he could be your
Nah, he's still DEI. He gets pity points because he's on the spectrum. It's
I really hope he doesn't listen to us, the poor fella.
Nah,
Uh,
cop that sucker. Come on the podcast. Let's do a collab. I think we're all on the spectrum here. If
he's
you've
oh,
ever
most
if you've e-
definitely.
if you've ever run afoul of Jared when he's on a tangent,
Neurospicy as they come. All right, let's talk about the Tigers. First and foremost, Bunty R4. I think he's on a development deal, but that's a bit of a weird
no
one.
way.
Yeah, he is, but nonetheless, he is contracted full time at the Tigers. I think he would have started training this week, if not next week. I'm pretty happy about this one. I called him out in our free agency deep dive November 1 last year, as a guy that's pretty consistent, bit of a cult hero known as Backfence Bunty, but he's a good defender. He's younger than what you think he is. He's only 29, and by all reports, he was really, really keen to join the club. And most importantly, it's depth in the middle forwards, which we've been crying out for months before we went dark.
It's all right. I mean, it's Bunny Afoa. Yeah. When I look at signings like this, I go like, is there potential for this to be like miraculously a second coming of his career or something like that? I don't think so. Uh,
Me neither.
I think small chance, right? Because like it's hard to say how much he's regressed from like the Bunty of like 2022, say. Like that was pretty much like a permanent fixture in the Warriors lineup and good, like legitimately like a plus player. And if we got that Bunty Afoa, like it'd be like all right, like that's a pretty good get. It's hard to gauge the rhetoric. Like I watched a little bit of Bunty Afoa in New South Wales Cup. No, not enough to really issue any kind of judgment. And he hasn't stood out. Like when you watch Warriors games of like last year, for example, I think Ale outplayed him. I think a lot of those other younger forwards were kind of outplaying him too. Yeah. Look, I hear from the Warriors fans that what Bunty does bring though is like excellent, like off the field stuff, like excellent culture, excellent fit for the boys, good for the young guys, brings a great attitude, hell of a trainer. But I find that tough to reconcile with like the on-field performances because if he's such a good trainer, I don't understand why he would have regressed because he was a pretty good player. Like, but anyway, I digress. Look, I'm pretty happy with it. I'm fine with it. I'm not like upset about it. When it got announced, I was pretty happy with it because I didn't really see it coming, to be honest. And we were kind of shot. I think we were still, well, at least I was still looking at, where we were going to find a middle forward to like fill that kind of 29th, 30th place on the roster. And then like we were looking even like more in darker places than Barnty. So for him to materialize in that context was good. But look, I think that, yeah, I think he'll probably play a lot of, reserve grade is my guess. I don't really think he'll play too much first grade. Although, something that we bang on about a lot, there are guys in our top 17 that are probably, there's a bit of a if they're in our top 17, we probably don't make the 8 kind of thing going on. So maybe he gets some start on the bench, who knows. What do you think?
Yeah, a handful of games. With the way that Royce Hunter's come back to preseason, it
Mm.
looks in great nick. I'm pretty excited about how he'll go, and that will therefore push Bunty down. I have heard that there is an issue with Fanua Bole around his shoulder, which might actually explain his postseason woes. So I think Fanua, similar to Latu, will miss a couple of the early rounds, depending on
Really?
how.
Is that bad?
Yeah.
And
Uh,
Latu too?
well, Latu's in a similar boat. We'll talk about Latu a little bit later.
Man.
So look, I think Bunty will probably get 6 to 8 games. Anything more than that, I'd probably raise my eyebrows at. But again, it depends on obviously injuries and form and those sorts of things. And the latter is the big one. Last year there was no real forwards to call upon, despite the fact that guys like Borlaire, even sort of Terrell, while didn't deserve to be dropped, probably needed less minutes. I think next year we'll be able to
He's
shed a lot.
fat.
Obviously, the
Why is he
transition.
fat?
Say
Terrell, he's fat. Why has he got all fat? Get on the treadmill, Terrell.
he's been in a good paddock, but hey, he trains
Nice.
hard, so he's probably just letting himself go, and then he's the king of the yo-yo. I think can put on weight pretty easily, but I think he can lose it pretty quick too.
All
I don't
right.
think I wouldn't be too worried, but nonetheless, yeah,
Sorry to
happy.
interrupt you. He's
That's
just
all
so
right, mate. Happy with the Bunty signing. Think he only plays a handful of games, and I think the roster's better for him being there. Our good mate, all things West Tigers, Ryan, a good friend of the podcast, and a frequent within our in our direct messages these days, called from way out the one Jack Attard, fullback and former Australian schoolboy.
Is it pronounced Attard? I thought it was pronounced Attard.
Oh, semantics, my friend.
It was a joke.
Regardless,
It was a joke, Joe. It was a very inappropriate joke.
it honestly went over my head because I've got
So that's what I was saying.
I've been out of the game for so long. Um, Nonetheless, it sort of gotten a scoop that Jack was headed our way, and sure enough, that did prove to be the case. So, as far as I understand, top 25. Oh, sorry, he's training trial in 2024, 2026. Shit, I'm so far out of practice. Development 27, top 30, 28. Now, people are going to call this a Buller insurance policy, and that may be so. This kid's got talent in droves. Super agile, quite quick, good ball player, really, really good technical floor, passes the ball really nicely, very, very good in terms of summing up overlaps. He talks well and he's elusive. He's a little bit different to Jareem. He's a little bit more of a traditional fullback, whereas Jareem's got different parts of his game that are strengths and weaknesses. I
Dream's
think
more freakish.
yeah, that's a really good way to put it. He's a really, really interesting signing, and it's a great signing, and one that I've sort of wanted for many, many years. Not Jack himself, but the good systems where there is an overload in certain positions, we need to go and pinch those players. The Dogs do it, the Chooks do it, Melbourne do it, and that's how you always ensure that, irrespective of drops in form of your good players, that there's guys underneath that are chomping at the bit. With Penrith, I don't think that Jack's a discard. It's that, first and foremost, Dylan Edwards is the guy and will be the guy until he retires. But Jackson Edgar was a year older than him, beat him to the punch, and ultimately he's going to be Dylan's successor. And it left Jack with not a decent amount of game time in New South Wales Cup and the like. Took to Jersey flag really well after an SG ball season. Scored a double in his cup debut and moved really, really nicely that day. This is a really, really good pickup for us, and we finally solved the backup fullback issue, which we've been scratching our heads at for a little while. Obviously, he's not eligible to play till round 10, but this is a really good signing for our future, and not a Buller insurance policy. I think he's been brought in to potentially mix it with Jareem moving forward.
Do you think that Jack can play other positions?
Yeah, he can play 5'8". Done it a fair
Can he
few
play on the
times.
wing?
I wouldn't put it past him. He is the tall type, but he lacks that sort of physicality that a lot of the modern day wingers do.
Yeah, because I mean, he strikes me as a sort of player based on pedigree who he'll end up being too good not to be in our top 17 once he sort of becomes the finished product, but I'm not sure he would ever push Buller out. So,
Yeah.
like, I feel like and maybe he ends up the 6 and who like, because I mean, Latu's obviously got the 7-6 next to Luai sort of sewn up to a degree, but at the same time, maybe not. Like, it's not exactly like Latu's played a ton there, and it's not like he's been able to really keep himself on the field. So maybe that's the option. But like, I don't know. I just get a vibe that Attard might end up being somebody who we see in the outside backs when he actually plays first grade, a little bit like Teddy did when he first came into grade.
Yeah.
But I've never seen him play out there or anything like that. But like, he looks like he could handle the wing. Looks like it. Especially if he hits the gym pretty hard and maybe just gets his like muscles bit bigger. Adds a bit of weight to his frame so he can take some hit ups. Maybe like looks a bit like I think Bailey Simonson sort of started as a fullback in the lower grades and ended up on the outside backs type of trajectory. Um, yeah, look, I agree with everything you said. I don't know that much about Jack. I can't really comment too much on his skill set. That's why I asked you a question. But like, obviously, it's a good idea to be sniffing around the likes of Penrith for backup players like him. A little bit disappointed in what that might mean for my homie Logan Brooks, because I know we also extended Oitman. And Logan's off contract this year. He's going to be with the Tigers for 2026, but he's not signed for anywhere past that. So with us having Oitman and Mason and Luke Lolaliti and now Attard, I feel like his management will probably move him on. Like, even if the Tigers kind of want to keep him, they'll probably move him on, because you'd probably want to take him somewhere where he's more likely to get a start. So yeah, I mean, that's the name of the game, I suppose. But what do you think though? Like, I mean, do you feel like actually somebody I probably want to talk about, and you maybe on the tip of your tongue next is Herbert, because I mentioned before, Bunty, when I was talking about Bunty, and I said, when I look at these sort of signings, I look at it and I try to work out whether there's a chance that, like, it might be just like a miracle, like, I think Herbert has that potential. Like, I think at his best, Herbert was actually like in the top half of centers in the NRL, like at his best, like in his best season for the Warriors. He was like a tackle breaking machine. And I know sometimes, people kind of, when you look at the blokes who go on like Mormon missions and come back after a couple of years, I kind of liken this to that. Like, I don't know where exactly he's been. Maybe it was on a Mormon mission, but
Well, this
but
is
I
the question.
I feel like if he's actually decided that he wants to come back, then he's obviously thought it through, right? He's obviously made like a real strong decision to like focus, and he looks great in the pictures. We're talking about Patrick Herbert, ex Warriors and Titans center, by the way. He's been spotted at training. But yeah, what do you think of the Herbert signing?
Well, first and foremost, he's not to be confused with Justin Herbert's brother, playing in the defensive team for Jacksonville. Look, it's an interesting one because I agree with you. He's a good player, and I think, from a cup perspective, he's, pretty solid. But where's he been? I've been trying to work this out for ages. I remember that he was released in, I think,
Mid-year.
2023, but I thought he was meant to go to England, but I think he might have done his knee then. But that doesn't explain, therefore, where he was in 24 and 25. But even then, I can't find anything about going to play, sort of local A grade or anything like that. So I'm not absolutely certain. Maybe he took a sabbatical similar to what Chanel Harris-Tavita did, and now he's come back. But we won't. I think you might see him first trial, providing he stays. Because we had guys like Sam Loiseau, I think last year or the year prior, who did the preseason with us and then dipped and went back to Parramatta. So there is sort of history where, these guys turn up and then they sort of leave. But yeah, it's a really interesting one. But that probably gives us, time to talk about the trainer trials. And there's a lot of, pending any sort of vets turn up in the next couple of weeks as per the RLPA guidelines. I've got the list here as per MBWT. So a lot of young guys. So Siatame Havea Jr., who we've spoken about ad nauseum,
Oh
particularly
yeah.
through the summer. In my opinion, future captain of the club, lock forward. Phoenix Godineg, reputation precedes him. Christian Torpau-Morse, who just quietly, I hear he's having a ripper preseason. He's
Mm.
absolutely just killing it. Adard, who we spoke about, Herbert, who we spoke about, Maxwell Tautua, who was our best player in Jersey Flegg last year, I think, just consistently across the board. Tino Tavana, which, who we love. Iverson Matai, Luke Jack, former Queensland junior representative, and got a handful of games for the Maggies last year. And one Max Lehman, who I know you want to talk about in a second. But I think that the flavour is very much, this is Shane Richardson going, fuck it, we're going to give these contracts to the boys from within. We're going to promote them. We're going to give them a chance, and we're going to get them in and amongst the washing machine that is a first grade preseason. That said, I would have liked to have seen a little bit more in regards to experienced campaigners. And the reason I say that is because you look at our backline for next year in Cup, and it is going to be Adard, Tavana, both boys have made their Cup debuts, but they've really only played a handful of games. Paddy Herbert, who's coming back from a 2-year hiatus as far as we're aware. If Mussy isn't playing on the sting for first grade, he will be at left centre. Again, he'll be incredible, but inexperienced. Luke Lauliti will be there. And if it isn't Mussy, then Skelton will be there. It's a backline with a lot of upside, but it's where I really hope that we would have invested in some experience.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. Like, it's too far out to tell. Like, I think that, we might find that, we probably pick up some people like Tui Tupu and stuff like along the way. Like, that seems to be the way that we handle this stuff. I think that we like to start off with the projected talent and let them sink or swim before we go, out of their depth. Back they go. Let's just go pull some trump card out of the deck. I think that, like, Richo has this mentality with reserve grade where it's like, ultimately he'll be able to go and find somebody of the quality of Isaac Tui Tupu or Christian Mapapalangi whenever he feels like, because they're everywhere throughout the NRL. So
That's a really good point. A really good point.
So to that end, like, it is odd that we let them both walk, because I thought, especially Mapapalangi, I thought they had a bit of a rap on him because they brought him straight into training with the first grade squad as soon as they brought him into the club, and as far as I can tell, he was training with the first grade squad for the whole season. Just wanted to add on a couple of the points you made there. Christian Tapau Moore's aura off the charts. Am I tripping? Like, just looking at this bloke, like, he just looks like he carries himself like an alpha. Like, for a young bloke, like, he just seemed like he has this look on his face all the time. Like, he's like, oh, you guys aren't gonna fucking know about it when I hit the scene. Like, and I did notice that in the back end of the season in New South Wales Cup, he was really starting to throw his weight around with the big boys. So, he's pretty exciting, I think, Tapo Moss. And Luke Jack. Now, I want to kind of blast Richo because I'm kind of sick to death of Richo bringing rich digital people into our club. Not because it hasn't worked out. Frankly, it kind of has. but like, who's this Max Lehman? Who's this bloke? Like some skater. He looks like a skater. He was doing kickflips at the Ipswich skate park 6 weeks ago, and now he's training with the off-season squad at the West Tigers because he's a content creator that works for Rich Digital or some shit. Like, Richo, what are you freaking doing? Like, it's okay. We'll give you Fartape. That we got some run out of Solomona. That wasn't that bad. We'll give you Murray. We'll give you Hope. Maybe Luke Jack. Although you're certainly giving him plenty of opportunities that others might not really get. But
I don't know if Luke's affiliated.
Mate, they're all affiliated with these Tigers. So whether they're part of Rich Digital or not, they're all coming from the same. They're all coming from the same cocoon. Luke Jack, by the way, was an Australian schoolboys rep, so he actually has some good pedigree. But look, I mean, you've had your fun. The jig is up. We can see what you're doing now. It is nepotism, and Buzz will come and get you. So pull your head in, Richard.
He already did.
I know, but he'll double dip. He'll double dip. Like,
I think they're good mates at the moment, but they tend to go they're hot and cold.
Richo, I'll stop rissoling you for big upping Rich Digital if you switch Rich Digital's payments to pinch payments. All right. So all you got to do is plug it into Zero. It's free to use. I only charge transaction fees, mate. Switch Rich Digital to pinch payments, and I'll stop hanging shit on you.
You heard it, Shane. Let's jump into the Pacific Championships. Not heaps to report, I think, mainly around the Pac champs. Dream Bull looked like an immortal against the Cook
Once,
Islands, and
yeah.
then played the Kugels, and it was very clear that it seemed as if the articles that were swirling around his name were messing with his head because he refused to make tackles on these.
That PNG game probably cost him 200K on his salary.
It would probably cost him a golden boot shortlisting.
It probably did, yeah.
Yeah, all of those things. Obviously, Talon got ruled out for SAR, and Terrell played, but they used him very differently, and it looked like he'd been in a good paddock. There wasn't really much more to say there.
He looked Terrell, brother. That was it was like looking into a mirror.
As long as he's right to go by January, I don't really mind.
He'll probably do an ultra marathon and run from Sydney to WA just to lose the
Yeah.
weight.
Just go easy on the turkey at Christmas, Tez. Jerome Luai had some great moments and had some poor ones. I felt like he created enough opportunities for them to win the game in the first game against New Zealand. Two of us, Shek dropped that ball, which just, that was the game on the line there. I thought he was really, really good against Tonga. But against the might of that New Zealand forward pack, he was very, very good first half of the Pac Champs final, and then that second half he fell away. Is that a fair assessment?
I was not happy. Oh man. If you were in our Discord, there was some pejoratives being thrown around.
No,
I
Jerome.
didn't love it. But you know what? It is what it is. New Zealand played. Oh my god! Like, let's talk about some non-Tigers though. Let's talk about Keanu Kenny. Holy shit!
For me, obviously he was phenomenal, and the way that he played the week prior against Tonga, my
Mate, he
good,
looks like he's untouchable.
yeah,
I look at him and I go, mate, New Zealand versus Australia for the next 10 years, Reece Walsh versus Keanu Kenny. That rivalry between those two, and Brisbane versus Gold Coast too. That rivalry between those two is gonna feed the NRL for a generation, mate.
without doubt. For me, it was the bench of New Zealand, particularly, just two of them. Now Fahu White and Aaron Clark.
Oh, how good was White? What was the second name?
Aaron Clark,
Yeah, what the what he's got? What have they done with Aaron Clark?
he could always play footy. He's a guy that I always looked at, even at the Gold Coast, and saw a decent player, but they just didn't use him correctly. He never got the time at 13 that he properly deserved. I think they mixed and matched with him playing a bit of 9, bit of prop. It just never worked. He's a lock forward, and he's as strong as an ox. Like him and Naufar, who I think were sensational. Joseph Tapine had a great tournament in general. But for mine, now Fahu White and Aaron Clark I thought were phenomenal. And obviously Dylan Brown as well. It's amazing when you give him a very, very simple game plan on the back of a decent forward pack, what he can do for you.
Yes, and who was the other starting prop? Fisher Harris.
It was Fisher Harris and Leota.
So they had Fisher Harris, Leota, White,
Tapine,
Tarpanay
Aaron
as
Clark.
a middle rotation. Mate.
And Zave Willison as well.
Didn't he play for a different team?
No. He was playing for the Kiwis.
I thought Willison played for Samoa or something. Okay. Man, that is a hell of a pack, hell of a middle. And then they also have some pretty good back rows too, don't they? Britton Decora, I think, was in the back row.
Yeah, Ice was on the other edge.
Man, that is a pack, man. And Foreign, he got the call up because somebody got injured. Who was going to be the half before Foreign got the call up?
Jerome Hughes,
That's right, Hughes.
and there
Mate,
was
they got a bloody good team. I
someone.
don't like, I think, people kinda get a little bit hoisted on the petard of, like, the storylines about the Aussie lads that are going to play for their, like, ancestral homelands with Tonga and Samoa, and, like, there's this, like, "Oh, they're better than the Kiwis now all of a sudden," and the Kiwis just keep going, slap, like, over and over, slap, slap.
We
So,
need that test back so we can actually get a barometer on where the fuck these 2 sit. Like, I know the Kiwis wanna play the Kangaroos at the end of the year, and that's fair enough, but I also think that we need to keep this momentum around, every
international
going
football.
going to tour England consistently. Um, yeah, it's an interesting one. I think that New Zealand were the most impressive, but if you put the Kangaroos back in Oceania, I think that they still beat the Kiwis.
Maybe, but like the Kangaroos have also had a bit of a talent drain because of some of the guys that have left the Kangaroos program to go play for Samoa and Tonga and stuff.
Yeah, I
I don't
don't
know.
I don't know if it affected them,
I
from
reckon
my
it'll be pretty close. I don't know, man. I think my take on it is I think England uh played the Kangaroos pretty close for the most part. Like the game the second. I think it was this. They played 2 or 3 tests. They played 3 tests.
Yeah, 3.
3 tests. The third one got away from England, but, like, they were in the game for most of the first 2, if I remember correctly. But England's not a good side. Like, New Zealand would put 50 on 'em, I reckon. Like, I don't know. Like, I think, I'd love to see I agree with you. I think the Anzac Test, now's the time to bring it back. I think the appetite for international rugby league is there. I think it's being largely driven by sort of like a bit of renewed interest in the rugby internationals. I think that the NRL going into the USA, I think international league is probably more marketable in the USA than the NRL is because of how many Samoan and Tongan and Kiwi and Australian and British expatriates there are over there. Anzac Test in Vegas. What? Why not? Or like play a curtain raiser Samoa versus Tonga. Do a double header in Vegas. It'd be a bigger spectacle in Vegas or San Francisco or in LA where there's heaps and heaps of Islanders. I don't know. Like I agree with you. I'd love to see that Anzac Test. I think the Anzac Test was. I always loved it. I thought it was great. I don't know why they pulled it.
Well, with these, new conferences and everything else they're talking about in a 19-match season, hopefully we get it back. I'd be very, very happy to see mid-season international windows. I hate them when it comes to international football, but as in soccer, but in this instance, we need to grow the game. Really quickly, obviously, the Kangaroos won 3-0 in the most boring series I've ever watched. I got up and I watched the first game, and I got midway through the second one, and I think I fell asleep, so I didn't even bother with the third. But from a West Tigers perspective, Kai Pearce-Paul, I think that he was probably the only English player that can genuinely hold his head high and say that he played at the standard of the Kangaroos. He was offloading at will. He sat Angus Crichton on his bum multiple times, shut down a lot of raids down his edge. Yeah, there was a lot to like there, and a lot of what we said last year, which was, he's not being, his skills and his strengths are being utilised at Newcastle. I come away from that series, you know, believing that sort of opinion even more.
I think he'll gain heaps of confidence. Like, and I think that the NRL media built a lot of confidence in what impact he's going to have on the Tigers because of it. I think I actually thought their 9 was really impressive. I
Darryl
forget his
Clark.
name. No, what was his name? Their hooker. The young, like there's
There's
see
2.
ya.
There's that Darryl Clark and then Jez Litton, I think his name is.
Lytton, yes, Lytton. I thought Lytton was pretty good. I thought he was like he made a couple of real good line breaks. Held he, I thought he would. I would have given him the England Player of the Series personally. But I didn't watch many of the games. Like I mean, much of the games. I sort of picked and chose highlights, and I'm borrowing my opinion from reading other people's opinions, like the hack journalist that I am. But no, like I think yeah, I come away. I mean, you are right. He smashed some pretty high pedigree forwards on a few occasions. If he plays like that for the Tigers at right back row, I mean, I can't remember Alex Seyfarth ever putting Angus Crichton on his butt. So
And
that'll that'll
obviously
that'll do me. That'll feed families for generations. If we have a West Tigers back row that like poleaxes as a premier forward in the game, like give it to me. Sam Weller's turning into a hitter, mate. Two twin towers, bro. They're both like big, tall, sizable back rowers. Hey, it's like we haven't had. I don't think we've ever had back row hitmen like that ever.
it's exciting. But nonetheless, yeah, very, very happy with Kai and good to see him performing at that level. And as you say, like, just the confidence that he'll take out of that, because what he will do for that right edge, if we can get a fully fit Latu Fainu and a fully fit Stafford Toa, and I'm assuming that Sunia Taruba moves back to that right edge, um, it's pretty exciting. Like, honestly,
Yeah, the
uh,
weakness in the seam is by far.
Latu the work that Latu and Star could do off that second phase is, yeah, it's got me very excited.
I was going to say the like you look from 1 to 17 at the West Tigers, and it has premiership written all over it. I was trying to make you spit your water out, but you
Some may say that. Some might.
no, I was going to like the weakness, right? If I look at the Tigers 1 through 17, Dream Baller, look, he's not the best fullback in the NRL, but he's top 8 fullback, I think, or like in 2026, very likely will be. He's not the sort of maybe he's not one of the 8 best fullbacks in the NRL, but he's somebody who is easily like good enough to be in a top 8 sides roster, right? As a fullback, easily. He's plus. Great pair of wingers, no matter which way you look at it, whether it's Skelton and Taruva or Marcassini and Taruva. Like that's a great wing pairing. I think in the centers, as you said, like a lot probably hinges on Star's fitness. But that being said, Star doesn't come back healthy. Marcassini plays in the centers, and you start with Skelton. And Taylor May, forget about it. You know, he's one of if not the best center in the game in the second half of last season. Appy's still Appy. Terrell May's premier prop in the game. You know, you look at Hunt, you look at Bolle. You've got. I think what I'm trying to get at here is if it wasn't for Jerome Luai, we'd probably be the premiers.
I'm not even gonna bother with this whole shit about Luai's options. I think they're tied to Benji. It's as simple as that, and we'll talk.
Oh, you're an apologist.
Oh,
I think one thing I will give Luai credit for, Jerome. I'm glad that you walked back that ridiculous Batman thing. That was clever. Now I respect you slightly more as a man.
there you have it, everyone. Max, yeah, his respect has gone up by one skerrick. But Jerome, look, we started the summer with fucking Michael Chamis telling everybody that his story of the summer was going to be Jerome Bullard. Straight away, that rings alarm bells for everybody. And then you get a few weeks later a little bit more stabilised around the fact that Brent Reid, who everybody knows that anything that comes from Brent Reid is Tigers related, is effectively a press release signed and sealed by Shane Richardson, that the club is looking to sit down and negotiate. I think it's this week to remove the clauses. They don't necessarily think that 900 grand is fair value for 1 year, and they want to restructure and put it and keep him here for the medium to long term. I have been told, and it's not a secret. It's been circulated in a couple of different places. Jerome's reiterated multiple times that he wants to stay. So it's now for them to get a deal done, and if they can ensure that Isaac plays ball, which I think he will. I think he will do right by what his client wants. Then I think this one gets wrapped up before Christmas.
I wish we were doing apps because like week to week when we've been having conversations online about this, I've just been like, he's not going anywhere. Like it just doesn't make any sense.
Hmm.
There's no way Dream Buller has demonstrated enough to the NRL media in general for any other club to pay more than what we would be willing to pay for him. That's been my take the whole time. Now you could make an argument that maybe the Dragons might have or something like that, but Jareem was never leaving this group where he's the like demigod, bro. He's Maui. He's fucking Maui, dude. Like, they worship him at this club. Like, the boys think he is a jet. The senior players think he's their best player, and the young players think he's a demigod. Mate, he was never leaving. It was an absolute beat up. Absolute beat up. Whoever was Chamis, was it?
Chamis.
Chamis is the one that has like a real issue with Moses. Hey, like Moses and Chamis don't like each other, do they?
They do not. No.
So that's weird because like it feels like the agenda there would have been trying to pump up Buller's price tag. Like, so why is Chamis doing that dirty work, or is he just making shit up completely? Like,
I Michael has sources close to Isaac because they went to the same school. I think that he's
oh,
yeah, but
I
there's a
think
bit of
Moses' brother is friends with Chamis still.
who
I
is
remember, I remember Chamis saying that earlier in the year that he's still good friends with Isaac Moses'
well,
brother.
Stephen is also a part of Cove. So,
Maybe that's it. Maybe he just has an issue with Isaac, but he's still got ties to the agency in general.
yeah. Nonetheless,
Anyway, you're a clown, Chamis. Pull your head in,
I don't feel
mate.
that about Michael Chambers. I reckon he's a bloody good journalist.
Well, get it right next time then. Sorry. He likes you. If he
Um,
likes you, it's good enough for me, Mick.
really quickly, what do you think Joreen Buller's worth?
Um, more, not as much as he's gonna get. I think he's about 650 player at the moment. I think he has the potential. My problem with Dream Buller is that I don't think that the West Tigers in their current state can maximize the type of fullback that he could potentially be. Imagine if Dream Buller was the Melbourne Storm's fullback.
Mm,
Imagine if Dream Buller was the Brisbane Broncos fullback. He would score 400 tries a season. So I think that it's hard to correctly measure his value because he's the type of he's a weapon. He's a deployable weapon. He's not the type of fullback that like James Tedesco will be the best player in the side when the side sucks balls. He's not that kind of fullback that'll do 250 like grunt meters and help you win the game 18-16 like Dylan
yeah,
Edwards. So it's hard to like if the Tigers click or in the rest of the squad, Dream Buller will look like the best player in the NRL.
there you have it. Yeah, I think he's primed for a big year, mainly because he's not in a non-contact bib over preseason. Um, New jerseys. We touched on the fact that we didn't get a crack at the event, but I will say well done to Canterbury and well done to the Tigers. I think that to finally see them step out of the ensuring that the chevron is sympathetic to Balmain and West, and make sure that we continue to, honor both traditions was really good. You look at teams like the Cincinnati Bengals and the way that they employ stripes into their playing kit. We're finally doing that. I love the contoured sort of fur, the integration of the sponsors. Sans Zurich is much, much better. The return of the white jersey, I think, was pretty cool, and you called that from way out in terms of the branding. I thought that was really well done, and with Canterbury, I've been calling for it for ages. I cannot wait to see their rugby polos because that's what they do best. But we'll wait for the off field sort of gear. But nonetheless, it's really really cool to see two awesome jerseys and be done with Steeden. To be honest with you, because that was a very very forgettable period for our merchandise.
Yeah, I mean, I'm personally like I agree that it was good that they, you know, they've let the shackles off and they're being creative, right? They're actually like thinking from what looks good, what's good for the current generation of fans, and you can tell that there's like been some proper strategy put into the brand design of not just the jerseys, but all of the training kit and all of that as well. I think that I'm not. I think the finished product of both jerseys was a little bit underwhelming. I thought, like when all of the hype was getting, to fever pitch. Which to me, like, is it just me, or is there way more jersey hype this season than I've ever seen before? Like,
Yeah,
like what? Since when do we care that much?
Because they fucking teased an announcement, like the jersey was coming, and then on November 1, they basically said, "Oh, we've got a new apparel provider." And then it didn't come out for another fortnight. That's why.
Yeah, so they did the marketing well. Good on them then. Like, but
Yeah,
yeah, that's the game, man. I mean, that's
new media manager there. I actually, despite the fact that I am a magpie, I reckon the orange looks better than the white. A lot of people
I
are
do
talking
too.
about white. I reckon the orange is so much better.
I agree. I think that the white in a way, I think that if they went the white, they didn't go bold enough with it. Like as an alternative strip, I would have gone like white, like just really just be like, holy shit, the tigers are fucking white.
Yeah, like
But
2016 style.
but they left too much of the like other colors in it. Like I would have had like no orange in the strip at all. I would have just gone white with like very like maybe black trim around the sleeves, maybe a black V, something like that, and just been
Yeah.
like white tigers. And then went like, full Siberian tiger with all of the branding around it and stuff like that. Like and actually like double down on the idea of white tigers. Cause I actually feel like it's such a logical thing for this club to move towards becoming a white brand because of the fact that white is not exact. Well, the Balmain are black and gold, but like the Magpies are black and white. So I don't necessarily think anybody would have a problem with it because the tiger, there is a white tiger, right? So white is still thematically consistent with the tiger. So I feel like if you wanted to, really just go, you know what, we're turning the corner into a completely new generation of West Tigers. It's the white tiger. So
I
I
think
don't know. I would have done it a little bit more bold.
I think they've done it, and it would have been interesting. Like, you know how, like, some kits, particularly in European soccer, they do the full whiteout? You saw the full blackout with the Broncos this year, which was a really good jersey. I don't think they necessarily care about the mental health of their players, but nonetheless, the full whiteout jersey would have been really, really sick to
Yeah, I agree.
like, and playing up on the sort of white bangle. But nonetheless, I think they've done really well. I think it's a pass mark, and they're only going to evolve this as time goes on. So again, very, very keen to see the off field stuff. Well done West Tigers and well done Canterbury. Ready to move on and actually talk a little bit about the season that was. So, end of year wrap. There's a little bit to speak about here. Um, Max asked me to do a SWOT analysis. For those of you who do not know what a SWOT analysis is it is weighing up strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. But there's also some things that I'd like to speak about as well around different blocks of the season. And the big one is simply pre-Lachlan Galvin and post-Lachlan Galvin because there is a considerable change. Matt, where would you like me to start? Do you want me to sort of run through my stats and you sort of get a feel for it, and I'll sort of talk pre-post Galvin, or would you rather me start with the SWOT?
I'm easy, brother. Why don't you go with the stats?
Okay, beautiful. All right. Well, first and foremost to start. So this will sort of go attack and then sort of a little bit about discipline and kicking and then defense. So we ranked 15th for total points scored, which speaks to the lean period through the middle of the year. We made the least amount of line breaks of anyone through the year, so 17th. But we were 6th for general play passes and 3rd for offloads. So to give you an idea of how I see that, we were expansive without being particularly dangerous. 12th for tackle bust probably doubles that down on that too. Do you agree with my sentiments there?
I don't think that our halves were very adventurous when attacking from areas of the field that would usually lead to line breaks. I think that we probably had the least adventurous attack out of our own end of any team in the NRL. And that is consistent with what's been like the last several years. Um, it's interesting. I feel like Benji Marshall, like as an attacking player, was so much more creative and adventurous than he's so far demonstrated as an attacking head coach. But yeah, aside from that, yeah, like it looks like, um, look, I mean, they it was better. Like they were using the like the spread to like get extra 20 meters coming out of our own end here or there a little bit more than they used to. Like I found that we were getting pinned down in our own end the year before way too much to even be able to spread it.
Yeah,
And I
with you.
think bringing Skelton, especially Skelton into the side, but also Taruva, who for his size has to be the best rock winger that there
Oh,
is in the game for his size. Like
pound for pound, the best yardage winger in the game.
for sure. Um, but yeah, I think I really feel like the season kind of went pear-shaped. Well, I don't know if it was timing, but, like, I feel like if we got a whole season out of Stafford, Toller, and Skelton uninterrupted, we probably would have made the 8, I reckon. Because like, Skelton ended up missing about a third of the season, if not more, and Star more than half of it.
Mm,
And then, like,
yeah.
obviously, Star had, like, that injury disruption, and then his form fell off a cliff. And Skelton was not the same player either towards the back end of the season. Like, if they had stayed healthy, things were looking really promising. But beyond, like, once we kind of lost our mojo in that respect, we didn't really have enough X factor until Talon came in.
Mm.
And yeah, I don't know. I really think we need to figure out as quickly as possible how to get Marcassini into the side because we really need X factor. And Jerome Luai needs somebody to play off of. Like he needs a you watch the way that Luai plays with Samoa, and it's like he wants to play two-man football with Toto. Like,
Yes.
that's how Luai likes to attack, like, he likes to premeditate things, and he needs to build a combination with somebody who, is good enough to actually, like, really play that two-man game with, and I think Marcassini's definitely the jet, so that's what I'd like to see moving forward.
Definitely got that with May towards the end of the year, but I do tend to agree with you. He does, love to build combinations. Running, so we had the 13th most amount of total runs, so about fifth last, and we were ranked 16th for run meters and meters per run. So we had about 8.3 meters per run on average. That was ranked second last. Net run meters, shout out to the Rugby League Eye Test for this wonderful stat, support independent journalism. So net run meters, which is run meters made versus conceded, we ranked 15th. So we lost about 50 centimeters per run, which adds up to about 2.5 meters per set and builds up over the length of the game. Line engagements, we were 10th and we were first last year, would you believe it? So that speaks to the evolution in our attack that you spoke about a little bit, where there was more of a tendency to tug the ball under, be a little bit more conservative, and just pin it, as opposed to our middles taking the ball to the line, bit of shape out the back, a few more players in motion, simply because we didn't have the physicality. But it also proves that we didn't have the physicality this year either. We had the 16th most amount of play the balls, which speaks to a lack of possessions and explains the run meter metric. But from a field position perspective, we were ranked ninth for the amount of times we were tackled in the opposition's half. So, from my view, that tells you that we're probably gifted a lot of field position through errors, either unforced or forced. Thoughts there?
Mm, that fills me with dread, doesn't it? Like, it
Yeah,
basically
go for
says
it.
that we that basically says that, like, we had a lot of unearned chances and couldn't capitalize on them. But, I think, I mean, look, all of these stats are gonna point glaringly at one simple fact, and that's that we're overmatched in the middle, by almost every team in the NRL. I think that even some New South Wales Cup teams. Like, so, you really wanna hope Volley turns a corner. Like, he looked like he was gonna. The fact that he's gonna have a injury disrupted off season, according to you, sucks ass. I think Bunty's nowhere near gonna be enough of a upgrade on the current roster to really make an impact. Royce Hunt, as you say, he's come back very fit. We need that. Be a miracle. Thank God if he does, because we were at our best when Royce Hunt was at his best. He was kind of like the measuring stick of the side all season.
Yeah.
So if we, and it just goes to show what type of forward is Royce Hunt. He's dominant, physical, runs like flat out, likes the collision forward. And when he
He's
was playing good, we were playing good.
he,
That's what we need.
he's a momentum player, and that was something that we really struggled with through those lean weeks, where it's not a coincidence. Royce was playing reserve grade. Uh,
Alex Twal and Terrell May are they play too similar.
Mm.
Like when they're both on the field, it's the opposition forwards can rest easy because there's nobody who's gonna, like, run flat out straight at their chest and hurt them. And that's bad. Like, you need to Benji understands this, he said it, and it's something that I believe in too, like, rugby league is a game of pressure. It's a game of stress. Like, you have to keep the opposition under more stress than they have you under. And if the opposition looks up and they see a forward pack that they're not intimidated by, they run harder, they get their tails up, they take more chances, they put you under more pressure. Just the simple presence of somebody who they know is going to actually absorb the collision and maybe win the collision does a lot to the mentality of the side. That's the sort of impact somebody like Royce Hunt has on a game. That's hopefully the sort of impact Kai Pearce-Paul can bring on that right edge that Sam Weller was starting to bring on that left edge. I think that, Sam Weller is the one player in the side who I think we really the final round came too quickly. He was really just starting to round into form. So I hope he can take that momentum into next year because I expect a big year out of him, and we need it.
We do. Kicking, everyone with eyeballs will tell you all that, and Stevie Wonder might too, that our kick meters weren't up to scratch this year. They were better than 2024, but it was a very, very low base. We were still 16th for total kick meters. Dewey at halfback or in a pivot position at 13 might be the answer moving forward to increase kick meters. From a discipline perspective, we had the 12th least errors made and penalties conceded, so 12th in both metrics, but we were 15th for cumulative set restarts. So the total amount given and the total amount conceded. That was as of round 20 via the eye test. We were on negative 13. So we got pinged a fair bit for set restarts, but we didn't get many in return, which speaks to how subjective that rule is and how difficult it is for people to police. But the big one there is the kick meters and the fact that, we didn't have a Mitch Moses that could get us out of trouble and kick long. And,
Nobody has Mitch Moses.
that's true. But no, or an Adam Reynolds or a Nathan Cleary. But I mean, 2 out of 3 of those guys, finished in the prelims. And the other was a premier.
Exactly.
Defensively, we were 13th for points conceded, 14th for tackle efficiency. That was at 85%, but the top's 88. So it's a very, very fine margin, but it shows how important it is to stick. We were 6th for total try causes, speaking to the fact that there was more individual defensive lapses as opposed to attacking brilliance. Interestingly, we actually ranked 4th for the least amount of ineffective tackles. So when, somebody is wrapped up and then they get the ball away. So it seems we tend to wrap the ball up all right, but at the same time, during second phase, like when teams would offload and throw the ball around, we'd look lost at sea. So I'm not really sure
It's
on that,
always the not.
on that stat. But look, in short, not great viewing. And I will sort of counter this with some pre-Galvin stats that we brought up at mid-season, but I'll get your view now.
So on the kicking, look, I think that Jerome Luai general play kicking is not even. I think Latu Finu has better general play kicking than him, and Latu Finu hasn't played 21st grade games yet. So the positive there is that Latu Finu's got a lot of improvement in him, and I actually noticed towards the back end of the season, I actually started to get pretty impressed with Latu's general play kicking. I actually noticed he was getting a lot more distance on the ball.
Agreed.
And he was getting really accurate when it was coming to those sort of bombs from halfway that land just in front of the try line type kick, which is how a lot of teams do pin the opposition down the other end. Obviously Dewey, it has a big boot, and he came back into form this season in a major way like that. What we saw from Dewey at 7 towards the back end of that season before he got hurt was, probably his career best football. So, look, I mean, if we have to look at, man, it's such a pain in the ass because, I don't want to sound like a broken record and I'm death riding Jerome Luai. But if this side's weakness is kicking and he's the third best kicking half in the club, That's a problem. Like, that is a big problem. Like, Jerome Luai historically has needed to have the NRL's best exponent of kicking beside him for his teams to perform. Like, there's no benchmark that says Jerome Luai can have outside of him another average quality kicker, which is why I think the Luai and Dewey ended up being such a good halves combination. Like, once Luai didn't have to absorb the pressure of like being the primary kicker and the primary like ball, like primary game manager, and Dewey could do that, then Luai started to play better as well. But it really, like, brings question marks onto, like, in near-term future of, like, the West Tigers from a halves perspective because Jerome Luai, sure, like, you can have Jerome Luai as a 6. He's proven that he's an elite 6, for many, many years, and I don't think that he needs Nathan Cleary outside him necessarily to be an elite 6, but the club would need to have a very bloody good general play kicker at 7 for Jerome Luai at 6 to not to work, I think. Somebody like an Adam Reynolds or something like that. And it is Dewey. So, like, where does that leave Finu? Like, I'm really there's a lot of question marks for me about the halves heading into 2026. Like, there's no way they're not going to have Jerome Luai at 6 now. Like, I think that they've done their dash with him at 7. And I feel like Adam Dewey made his case. Like, I feel what's Latu Finu done to unseat Adam Dewey on form when Adam Dewey's back healthy, right? So I don't know. A lot of question marks about the kicking. A lot of question marks about Latu and Dewey there. I think that's an active competition.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting, and particularly with Latu sort of in a non-contact bid for the majority of preseason, if not all of it. It's going to be particularly
And
interesting.
who's the next half off the rank? Is it Evan? Javon Andrews? Like, is he
Be
the?
mate, Jock Madden.
Well, see, Jock Madden isn't the best general play kicker ever either. Like, I mean, he hangs his hat on being a game manager, but it's not like he's like a 40-20 exponent. Like, I think I brought it up multiple times throughout the 2025 season. The West Tigers have barely anybody who's ever kicked a 40-20. I think Jerome Luai has still not kicked a 40-20 in his career,
Hmm.
unless he kicked one this season.
Yeah, I don't think he has.
And he has never kicked a field goal. What about when he threw remember he had the field goal wide open and just
Oh,
hoiked the
yeah, that
ball away?
was
Like this there are still question marks for me here, big time question marks. Like, I wanna know if it becomes clear that the best halves combination for the West Tigers is Latu Finu and Adam Dewey. If that becomes evident because Adam Dewey continues to be more functionally useful on the field than Jerome Luai, and Latu Finu starts to round into the talented player that he is, are we going to move Dewey out of position just to accommodate Jerome Luai? We'll have to.
hmm.
That sucks. Like, I really, I'm. It's such a, and I don't blame the club. We had like I'm not like we had no choice. Jerome Luai makes himself available. We go get Jerome Luai. Like, this is like I can't. But it's just such an unfortunate situation we find ourselves in. Like, I feel like we really made a massive bet on Jerome Luai being able to be a dominant 7 on par with a Mitchell Moses, on par with a Nathan Cleary. And now that we've discovered that that's not the case, really made quite a rod for our own backs. And it's a really challenging situation for Benji Marshall as an inexperienced coach to find himself in. Very, very challenging, because he's going to have to manage the egos. He's going to have to manage the, senior playing group. He's going to have to manage the egos of a young man who might end up becoming a fantastic player. So, man, it's the sort of thing that any coach would find difficult to have to deal with. The one thing that we can look, I mean, it becomes a moot point if Latu Finu doesn't emerge as a good player. Like, if Latu Finu continues to suffer off the field and this and that and the other, which would be devastating for other reasons. But, like, yeah, like, I feel like, Jerome Luai is more of the finished product, Jared. Like, I don't really see Jerome Luai improving much from here in his career. Like, he's at he's 28, isn't he? He's, like, at his career ceiling.
I think he's at the apex, but I wonder whether or not he was a victim of a couple of different things. Well, not necessarily a victim, but whether certain things were a factor. in regards to obviously start of the year as a 7. You know, he was
He
sup
had to play that stupid second fiddle to Galvin thing for a little while,
correct.
and
So
that was a setback, no
so
doubt.
there's that, and then there was the change up midway through the year where he had Latu for a little bit, he had Heath Mason for a little bit, then it finally clicked with Adam Doueihi, and then Latu sort of learned on the run very quickly, and then those last couple of weeks looked pretty good. And now I'm not too sure how they're going to go in terms of their combo. They'll be able to do some work in attack, because, you know, Latu can still sort of play footy from that perspective. But yeah, it's a really interesting one. I think that we'll talk about it next week, you know, sort of 2026 and what we sort of think, and we'll toss up the draw and stuff. But yeah, look, by Luai standards, it wasn't a good year. It wasn't good enough. Even I, as somebody who is a fan, can very happily put my hand up and say that no, he did not deliver on the field. But there are, you know, for me, there are still green shoots, and there were moments where, yeah, on field actually, he did, you know, still impress me. It's just that ultimately, yeah, the changing of the roles and all the different halves partners, I don't think helped him settle. But at the same time, for a player that you pay that amount of money, you probably, you know, you do expect more, and I did expect more.
I feel like that the club needed or needs to surround him with more of the players that he more of the playing type of players that he's used to playing with at Penrith. Like, I feel like I made this point earlier in the season. If you go out and you spend huge money on like a rep level player like Jerome Luai, and you don't have like a strong incumbent in his best position, you play him in that position. We moved him to 7 to accommodate Lachlan Galvin as a 6 because Galvin's coming off like a good rookie season. That was a mistake. Like, Jerome Luai should have been signed and played as a 6. Now, whether he only came to us in the first place because he was promised a shot at 7, if we had have, like, given him $1.2 million to and said, "No, we think you're the best 6 in the game, play 6," he would have still come. Like, let's be real. Like, that's not a real argument, I don't think. And if it is, why did Jerome Luai like agree to remove all of his clauses and stay with the club as soon as now that opportunity's been taken away? But like I do think, yeah, I think that we will only go as far as the quality of the 7 that we picked outside of him. Adam Doueihi, how old's he now? 27, I think. Adam Doueihi is maybe a better player than people think. Like, I think that there was a few years there where Adam Doueihi was, you know, written off. And I think people probably forget that he had like multiple injuries that kept him out for very, very long stretches. And some injuries that people take 12 months to come back from, even after they recover from, and then another one of those, right? So he had and if you cast your mind back to prior to that, he was like our best player by orders of magnitude. If there was an NRL video game that came out in 2021, he would have been the only player in our side rated above 80, right? Like, he was very good for us when he was fully healthy. So I'm picking Adam Doueihi at 7, and I'm saying it's your jersey. I am not necessarily like, you know, even toying with the idea of playing Latu Finu there. I actually feel like personally, it's not the worst thing for Latu Finu to cut his teeth in a different position. It would not be the first time that a young half has come into grade and cut their teeth in a different position for quite some time first. Look at Ben Hunt. Like, there's been examples of this in the past. I think Latu Finu, genetically, he's a Finu. They're all forwards. If we're gonna pick one of Doueihi and Finu at 13, I'm picking Finu, especially considering how hard he smacks people and how hard like how good of a runner he is, and what we're looking at with like the likes of Aaron Clark and that as prototypes of the modern game at 13. I think Latu Finu could make a fantastic 13.
I disagree because as a halfback, forget the game managing. Let's just think purely attack based, right? What is the most important thing for a halfback to have as part of their physical skill set?
The most important thing for a halfback to have as part of their physical skill set or their skill set in general?
Their physical skill set.
Probably speed.
Yes. Does Adam Dewey have any speed? Does he have? Does he?
How many long range tries pulling away from KO Weeks has Latu Finest scored in the NRL?
Okay, fine. Does he have any? Does he have any acceleration? Does Adam Dewey have any acceleration whatsoever?
I don't know. I don't know. Look, Latu Finu does. Latu Finu can get off the mark and score a try. That's true. But can Adam Reynolds?
No, but look at the players that Adam Reynolds has around him. He has Katoni Staggs and Brendan Piakura outside of him. We don't have that luxury.
That's a
So
bit of a straw man, Jared.
I'm just,
My point is that you can win in multiple ways. Just because your halfback's not fast doesn't mean you can't win NRL games.
I don't disagree. I think that what you can get from Adam at 7, you can get from him at 13. I don't think that you can do the same with Latu. I think that you take away from some of his best attributes when you move him to the middle third. And you're right, he can smash blokes, but there's no reason that he can't force errors off back rowers and stand a few blokes up there as well. I think that Dewey's defense has improved considerably. I don't think he's a finished product by any stretch. He still needs, if he's going to go to 13, he needs to put weight on. He needs time on the wrestling mat. And he's going to have to learn to play big minutes in the washing machine. But in terms of
That applies to both of them, though.
true, but nonetheless, I think there's more upside to Dewey playing 13 than there is Latu, and I think there's more upside with Latu playing 7 than there is Dewey at 13. That's my perspective. In terms of Dewey,
Really worried about the kicking, man.
in terms of Dewey playing, but Dewey can play both sides of the ruck at 13. You can basically split it where in the attack he is the 7 and we run 2 6s in Luai and Fainu. It opens you up to a wealth of sort of opportunities and ideas. And that's
I'll
not
tell you what.
go on.
I'll tell you what. My problem, like what I'm trying to solution in my head right now, is all built off of the anxiety I feel about Jerome Luai's general play kicking, right? So just remember that. Like, if you take away my anxiety about Jerome Luai's general play kicking, sure, right? I think you agree that Adam Dewey's general play kicking is better than both Luai
Without a doubt.
and Fine. So I have to, in order for me to agree with you, you have to resolve my concerns. If you're saying Adam Dewey can be a general play kicker and play 13, I don't know about that. It feels weird. I mean, in principle, I guess, but like, what if he takes the fourth play carry?
Because he's got 2 digits on his back. Does it really matter at the end of the day?
What if he well, I mean, but like, it'll depend on the game planning of the club. Like, what's the role of the 13 at the West Tigers? Historically, it's been a forward. Like, historically, it's been a third middle because of the weaknesses that we have in the middle. I think that what I was going to say is the one thing that I don't think we saw enough of in 2025 was general play kicking from the ruck. Like, i.e. the hooker, like actually like kicking on the fourth, right? Appy kicking on the fourth.
Yeah, really good point. Because
He
Alpi has that in his wheelhouse.
can kick a 40-20.
There was a couple of real near misses. He would
I said
really
he can, yeah.
he only ever kicked early, or if he thought he was a chance at a 40-20.
I think you need to get Appy Coruscant to the point where Appy's kicking as frequently and with as much quality as like Robbie Farah was when Robbie Farah was in his prime. If you can get Appy to take, a good solid quarter of all the general play kicks, even if he has to step out of dummy half and somebody going to dummy half to feed him the pill on the last or something like that.
Yeah.
I think then you maybe can run Luai and you can run Fino. And then at that point, I probably wouldn't have Dewey at 13 because I feel like that we probably still do need a bigger body 13, especially if you look at the other stat that you pulled out there, which is that 6 again stat on both sides of the ball. We're obviously defensively fragile. We obviously give away a lot of weak tackles so that people can get to their feet and play the ball too quickly so that they can get enough momentum to catch us running backwards and catch us in offside, and we're having to slow the rock down too much, and vice versa.
Mm.
Again, a big like call. This is like you probably won't like this call at all. But the one player at the club who I think I would love to see play 13, who I think would honestly tear it up as a 13 is Taylor fucking May. I think Taylor May as a 13,
Because he's a footballer, he could play anywhere, but
and he's got skill, but the way he runs and the way he hits, like, and what a lot of Tigers fans won't know this about Taylor May unless you listen to this podcast, but Taylor May played heaps of 9 when he was a junior. Heaps and heaps of 9 and 13. He played lots and lots of football in the middle, and he runs straight and he runs hard. Now, if we've got Gerald Skelton and Hiamasi Marcassini on the left, and we've got Stafford Toa and we've got Sunia Taruva on the right, obviously Taylor May, you'd pick him ahead of any of them at any of those positions on form as well. But I think he has genuine upside as a 13. I truly do. And I also think he has the right sort of like, just the right cunt about him to really make a difference for us in the middle. We really lack an enforcer in the middle. That's the thing. Like, we really like his brother is a Buddhist monk. His brother is a crystal mum. Like, Taylor May is the bull of that family. Well, anyway,
Terrell May a crystal mum.
he's a crystal mum. The bloke, he's a shaman. He shops at Happy High Herbs, mate. Spends all of his time in freaking Byron Bay in the off season. Oh,
But
for sure. Loves a latte.
saying that.
Mate, his time at the Roosters, transformed him as a human being.
But
That's the difference. Taylor May went to Penrith. He stayed on the West. Mate, the other guy crossed the latte line and turned into bloody Zoe Marshall.
you mean the old Chargirl Charlie's line? Moving on. The one thing that I really want to talk about is the Galvin effect, and Benji Marshall actually said it on the podcast he did with with Terrell May. Basically about how it really affected them. Semi Fino actually said something similar on a podcast he did with his manager Mario Tartak and a bunch of lads. Just to give you an idea, so this was as of round 9, so we were 7th for run meters. You'll remember we were 16th, 6th for possession, 3rd for offloads. We finished 3rd for offloads back into the year. 6th for total supports, and we were 7th for points scored. We ended up 8th for supports. I didn't sort of give you an idea of that earlier. Forwards got us to good spot, so we were 9th for sort of average field position. The attack was a bit flatter and faster. So straight away there, you can see that run meters, we were 7th, come round 9. By the end of the year, we were 16th. Possession, we were 6th. By the end of the year, 16th. So there's some problems there. Points scored, we were 7th. End of the year, we were 15th. There's a lot of problems there. The big one was kicking. Galvin was actually paramount for our kicking. We were 2nd for total kicks after round 9, and we were 6th for kick meters. So we were a little bit more shallow, but we were kicking the ball far better than what we were. In the end, we ended up 16th. Like, that's really, really bad. Like, I know we just wanted to get away from it, and we didn't want to talk about it anymore, but fuck, like, if I read those to you and you hear that, 7th for run meters, 6th for possession, 3rd for offload, 6th for support, 7th for points scored.
Top 18.
Bro, like 2nd for total kicks, 6th for kick meters. Like, our right edge got blown up. It got blown up. Like, by the end of the year, when Stafford was out, it was either Latu and Dewey on that right edge. It was one of Sukar and Seafar. It was a revolving door at right centre, but it was Brent Naden there for a little while, and Skelton and Taruva switched sides. Like, Richo's given the right edge a bake. I heard he sprayed him at the end of season awards night. He said it on the record and off it, but. The question, did Lachlan Galvin leaving kill us off?
No, I don't think so. I think if you really play the tape forward and you imagine Lachlan Garvin stayed, I don't really think the results would have been that much better, if better at all. Like I feel like that the right edge was weak not because of Lachlan Galvin leaving. The right edge was weak because we have a unintimidating right back rower playing there. We had a revolving door at center and wing. Um, I feel like that, even though we had a good combination early in the year with Taruva and Toa from an attacking perspective, like at one point they were like the best edge in the NRL.
Yeah.
They were always our weakest edge from a defensive perspective. Neither of them are the best defensives. Toa was having a decent season at center for a bit
Yep.
defensively, like he was putting on hits and that, but Taruva was always a bit of a liability there. No, I think generally, um, whether it was Dewey, who's not the best defender anyway, but he was also pretty good this year. Fino, who's inexperienced. Galvin, who's inexperienced. Seafarth, who's just an under, sort of just a below par NRL level player.
Oh,
Sukar, who's a
my
rookie.
memory was absolutely diabolical before. It was Sione Finu playing out of position on that right edge.
Sione Fino, as we've kind of alluded to multiple times in this podcast, is probably one of the worst defensive forwards in the NRL. Um,
Yeah.
for all the good he brings in terms of his aura on the field and also his attacking prowess, he is an absolute liability as a
Oh,
as a as a
I
defender.
adore him, and he is priority 1 in free agency, but he has a lot of work to do defensively.
One of the things that we did during the season that I think a lot of people really enjoyed was kind of comparing the tackle efficiency stats of our forward pack to other forward packs at the club.
Yeah.
And like you look at the best forward packs around the NRL, their best players quite often are their worst defenders. Case in point, Hudson Young. Case in point, Angus Crichton. And that's because they have like a pass to kind of come out of the line and try to put hits on and stuff like that. They miss a lot of tackles. Sione Fino could be that player to us, but you can only carry one. You look at the rest of their packs and they're all above 95% tackle efficiency stats. For us, we had a forward pack who was almost unilaterally below 95 with the exception of Twal and May. So anytime Twal and May were off the field, we were like absolute Swiss cheese. Didn't matter whether it was on the right edge, the left edge, or through the middle. But teams kept attacking us down the right edge. There was probably a little bit like of a mixture of intent, like, they were intentionally targeting that edge because it was our weakest edge, but also because I think most sides are just left side dominant. I think it's in a lot of respects, it's just coincidence. Like I think most sides spin it to the left, right hand passers like to throw it to the left.
Yep.
So most sides are left hand dominant. Most left wingers and left centers score more tries than their right edge counterparts at most clubs.
Bang on.
So there's a little bit of a correlation. I think generally the biggest issue at the club, is weakness in the middle and just general inexperience across the board. Defense is the thing that players don't stop getting better at as they get older. You look at a player like Luke Lewis. He was still one of the best defensive players in the NRL when he was 36.
Yes.
You get better and better and better at defense as you get older, even if the rest of the stuff slows down. Because defense is about intent. It's about willingness to absorb contact. It's about not giving a fuck. It's about having courage. It's about having balls. It's about not being afraid. So I think that every year this side that as it stays together will get better defensively. It was better this year than it was last year. Of course it was.
Yes.
We got the wooden
Yes.
spoon last year, even though it was still crap. Kai Pearce-Paul is about as good of a skeleton key, like as in like a one thing, like just stick a freaking fix in and hopefully the whole thing fixes itself. It's about the best we could have done because he's a very, very good defensive right edge back rower. Even if he doesn't bring anything else to the table, he's going to have massive upside as a right edge back rower in defense. What we need other than that is we need our right center to play 25 games. Like we can't have chopping and changing the combinations on that right edge, especially because Kai Pearce-Paul's in his first year. He needs to build combinations with people on that right edge.
Absolutely.
I think it's another argument as to why I would go Dewey over Finu because Dewey showed himself to be a very, very capable defender in 2025. He was very, very solid. He made good decisions when coming up out of the line. He didn't get made to look a fool of much, if at all. He made a lot of really good defensive efforts on our line. Much more formidable defender than Latu Finu in that position. Finu hits. He's a Finu. That's what Finus do. Unfortunately, all of them seem to also have massive issues with missed tackles. Both Samuela and Sione under 90% tackle efficiency. So maybe that's the thing. But again, I think that relates more to their inexperience generally. And I think that's also probably why a lot of clubs, especially the good ones like Melbourne, actually don't play young players, even if they're excellent, because they are defensive liabilities until they're 23, 24, 25. We, by necessity, are blooding kids younger, and the biggest, the biggest trade off you get from having to bring young players in is you have a defensively fragile side, unless they are explosive attacking talents to make up for it, and unless you can start winning games 44-36 every week, like the 2005 Tigers did, which literally has happened once in the history of the NRL. Literally, there has not been a side that has won the premiership that was like the 2005 Tigers. It's just not a thing. It's just not. There's no. That is a one of one. So yeah, that's my take on it. I think we'll be better for it. I think Kai Pearce-Paul's a great signing. I do think the right edge was a massive weakness. I think the right edge was a massive weakness largely just because of it was just shit. It was like all of our good players on the left, all of the weak players on the right. Don't think it had much to do with Lachlan Galvin. Bigger issue is our fragility through the middle. Bigger issue than that, even fragility, is just our middles are not dominant. We're just not dominant in the middle. We're like, you look at Moses Leota, dominant player. Nobody gets the better of him. Josh Papali'i, dominant player. Nobody gets the better of him. Junior Polo, James Fisher Harris. Even like, the other freaking white middle over in the Warriors, the Barnett, like these middles, we're missing one of those. You know what I mean? Like Terrell May isn't that. Like Terrell May is Alex 12 plus edition. Like that's the way he plays. Like he's takes slow hit ups. He's difficult to put down. He stands in tackles. He looks for offloads. He plays short of the line. He's good. He makes good defensive contact, but he doesn't like come out of the line and put hits on.
Mm.
He's probably the best toiler type prop in the NRL. Like that's what I would call him, and that's why he didn't get called up to the Origin, because the Origin arena calls for collision merchants. Granted, they picked Stefano Utikamano and that other King pillow, but like, whatever. They must have not liked him because his crystal mum.
That was his problem. His chakras weren't aligned. It wasn't.
Well, I mean, they're hypocrites in the New South Wales Origin camp. They always have been, dating back to when they didn't pick Anthony Mundine. That one was just to rile up all of the old racists that listen to the podcast.
Of which I hope we don't have too many. Mate,
Hey, Aunt Chuck.
I think we've pretty much covered everything in terms of the review. In terms of, straight.
Wait, let me think. There's got to be something we're missing. This is a season review, right?
It is.
What are we missing?
It is our player of the year and our rookie of the year.
That's it. Nailed it.
We'll go rookie first because it's extremely funny given everything that's gone on this episode.
Yes.
But rookie of the year, did we have a short list?
Yeah. I mean, do we count like comeback players? Can Taylor May win them?
No, we can't. We can't. I think. Oh, here they are. The nominees are Tristan Hope, Charlie Murray, Tony Sukkar, and Hiamasi Makasini. You can announce the winner.
Well, look, the club gave this award to Tony Sukkar, and that's probably because how many games he played? 16 or 17 or something. Like Tony Sukkar, yeah, he played like 16 games. I'm as shocked as you are. Like he played more games than he didn't play this year. That's madness. But I don't remember seeing him do anything. How the hell can you give him Rookie of the Year? It's crazy. It's like if I was Tony Sukkar and I was walking up to get the Rookie of the Year award, I'd be like, gee, thanks. It's a participation award. You're literally the only option. So for that reason, I'm disqualifying him because it's not a fair option. So I'm picking from the other three. And I think that in that case, I'm giving I'm giving it to our new god, Marcy Marcassini. Now we're podcasters, right? Thank you. We're podcasters, so we're casual media pundits in the NRL. And I'll tell you, of those four players, Marcy Marcassini brought far more value than the other three in terms of engagement on social media. My Marcy Marcassini content on Instagram and TikTok went off. Marcy, you got fans, bro. You're like your school chums getting on there, big up in you, man. Like if man, I think back to high school and I go, bro, like what it must be like to have a school of people worship you as a student. I mean, you went to school in Sydney. You must have gone to school with some players who made NRL eventually, right?
Yes.
Give me some names.
Oh, it was more blokes that I played against. I played against
What was it like? What was it like with these young blokes that were just so good at football that everybody, adults and other kids, just worshipped? Like, what was their life like? Because I didn't have anybody growing up in Grafton. There was superstar kids that were good at footy, but
the
like
one
nobody gave a shit.
the one that made it stick was Sean Keppie. Uh,
Yeah, and do
Sean
you reckon they worshipped him like the kids at Newington worship Marcy?
Well, Hiamarsi's generational. Sean is a first grader, but I don't think he possesses the same pedigree as Hiamasi. But there was certainly a certain aura to him. He was the only NRL player in my cohort. There was another one by the name of Will Kerr, who was an Australian schoolboy. He smashed me multiple times.
I remember him.
Yeah, he was at the Dogs, but just decided that the game wasn't for him, and sort of decided to travel the world, which I can never knock a bloke for. But yeah, there was always a certain sense of aura. But
Man, I tell you, like just watching the way that these young fellas like talk about Marcy, like there was a there was I put up a post and some kid goes, "Oh, I know him. He goes to my school," and the the kid got flamed. The people were replying and saying, "No, bro, you go to his school." And it was other kids from Newington, like
well, that is like Ibrahimovic memes.
yeah, and like I just, oh man, I just, what was that? Sorry, Jared.
It's like it's like this Zlatan memes, like when Hiamasi, Hiamasi didn't go to school. School went to Hiamasi.
I will tell you though, we are at a really interesting turning point when it comes to NRL fan culture
Mm.
because I think that young people of this like TikTok generation are, you know, you look at how the girls react to Reece Walsh, right? And we've always had our poster boys and stuff. Like, there's always been that. But like the poster boys, it was mums frothing over them, right? Not like 16-year-old girls lining up to like get their autograph. Like there's like genuine superstars emerging in the NRL now because they're young, they're coming from the TikTok generation, they're being followed as juniors, they're being promoted as juniors before they're emerging. It's like what we talk about, like we like to talk about the pathways players because it allows people to like follow them right throughout their journey and get that feeling of being like, I was in the know from the get-go.
Mhm.
Um, Marcy's and the cool thing about Marcy compared to like Reece Walsh is that Marcy doesn't seem like he possesses like he doesn't know what's going on, bro. Like Reece Walsh is like, you know, Marcy's just like, what is all this? No, I'm just a footy player, bro. Leave me alone. Like, he's got this like full on, just like, oh man, I'm just trying to make a living for my family. Like he just doesn't want to, and then goes on the field and he's just like freight training, full grown man. Nah, big fan of Marcy Marcassini, as you can tell, and I look, I think if they had like, if the Tigers put their foot down and went, sorry, bro, like you're all that in a bag of chips. We're picking you. You can't play for Newington, which I don't think that they were allowed to because I feel like he extended on that proviso. I think he had it in his contract. Like I think he literally went, no, I'm playing for my school before I like move on. Like I'm not going to sign for you if you don't let me. He would have been rookie of the year with a by a mile if he played the same amount of games as Sukkar. Rookie of the year by a mile.
Without a doubt. But nonetheless, here we are. Well, I have some sound effects here, so I'm going to put them in. Let me just find our nominees for the Player of the Year. We had a
Have I even given you my player of the year?
well, we decided on it. I thought
Yeah. No, we did.
we did.
You're right.
I don't have it, but you can have your own nominees. The winner of the West Tigers Faithful 2025 Player of the
No,
Year.
let's do the nominees first.
I can't find the nominees.
The nominees are Alex Twal,
There we go.
Adam Dewey, Terrell May, and some other scrotum I forget.
It was Sunea Taruva.
Sunir Charu. So obviously he's not the winner.
Well, the winner is
Sorry, Taruva, you're not a scrotum, brother.
Terrell May.
Terrell May. Congratulations, Terrell. Luke, for all of the insults I've leveled at you in this episode, you were the best player of the year. I think. What do you reckon, Jared? Do you reckon that like I'm his biggest naysayer in the media? Because I was sort of hanging shit on him since before the season started.
Yeah, you were. I think you'd be right up there.
I'm up there.
I think there's a fair few people talking a lot of smack about him when the Origin selections were going on.
A lot of those dickhead New South Wales entrenched dickheads like Riccio. Listen, Terrell May, you had a fantastic season. You made the team far better. I personally, as a Crystal mum, I have to point out that I don't actually consider it an insult. I have had a Kundalini awakening, Terrell, and you know what that means. And I know you know what that means. That's why I'm calling you a Crystal mum, because I can see you. I see you, fam. I know you've had an awakening. I've seen it. I can feel it. Nobody goes from being an enforcer off the bench at the Roosters to having a podcast talking about mental health openly unless they've had some sort of spiritual awakening. I don't know what shrooms you took or whether it was peyote, but it worked and it's made you a better man and a better player. Keep up the good work. We love your podcast work. We love the work that you're doing in terms of being, talking about mental health and being vulnerable as a man that plays one of the roughest, toughest sports in the world, in the NRL. You're a great asset to the club. You're a fantastic footballer. Well done. You are our player of the year.
Congratulations on your award, Terrell, and congratulations on your spiritual awakening.
I was going to send you a pizza, but considering how fat you are, I'm going to send you a salad.
Just don't get him a Caesar. I think that might do us, Mac. I think that given everything that we've been through today, I think that we come back next week. We talk through our signings, the depth, the development stuff, the round 2 team.
You're right.
Beautiful.
Let's get out of here.
Well, same time, same place next week, everybody. Thanks. It's very good to be back. I miss you, Mac. This has been good.
Oh, it's so great to hear the beautiful resonant notes of AJ